There was a period of time I didn't want to wake up in the morning. My alarm rang at 7:30 a.m. and despite putting my alarm 2 arms length away from me, I ended up hitting snooze till 8:35 a.m. or even 9. And even so, I was lying in bed till 9, 10 a.m. scrolling on social media. I was having trouble concentrating. I would be writing for 10 minutes and then my brain starts thinking about that one scene in Radio Rebel with Debbie Ryan, a very obscure movie I watched 6 years ago. Like, how did my brain even get there? And there are the social meetings. I am known to many people as a very people person, and I believe I am. I truly enjoy connection and digging deep into people's stories. But during this period of time, I was dreading keeping the lunch meetings I arranged. I just wanted to stay home. And on the weeks I only stayed home, I felt even worse. I felt like a sunflower without sun. I felt like I was slowly becoming a recluse, with the occasional identity crisis of shaming myself, thinking, Ray, you're supposed to be a people person. What's happening to you? Are you losing your gifts? Are you losing your strength? I didn't know what was happening. It wasn't burnout. I had done a lot of resting and fueling my soul with travel. It wasn't depression because I didn't feel hopeless. I just felt somewhat joyless and aimless. And as it turns out, there is a name for this meh feeling. It's called languishing. Organizational psychologist and best-selling author Adam Grant wrote of languishing as a sense of stagnation and emptiness, as if you're muddling through your days, looking at your life through a foggy windshield. He writes that languishing is the neglected middle child of mental health that falls somewhere between depression and flourishing. Sometimes when we are languishing and feeling exhausted emotionally, physically, socially, or spiritually, the best thing we can do is to rest. That's why people say it's important to take care of yourself. Self-care is key. But at a certain point, rest creates inertia. Our minds and bodies are as recovered as they're gonna be, yet we still feel a little off. When that was happening to me, and honestly it sometimes still happens to me, this is what I do. Number one, I create a routine. Sometimes life can feel uncertain, which makes that meh feeling worse. I feel a little bit more upset, triggered, impatient with myself, with others, with minor inconveniences that happen in life. Having a routine allows me to create certainty within the uncertainty. One thing I've been doing that has helped me tremendously is to have a morning routine. You probably heard this before, but I have to say it again because this is truly a game changer for me. It is so easy to get caught up with what seems like an exhausting hamster wheel. Wake up, get coffee, rush to the office, or for me it would be to open up my laptop, work, home, Netflix, crash into bed, and the cycle goes on. Your mind, soul, and body is just dragged along and has no opportunity to pause and communicate to you how it feels. This exhausting hamster wheel can make us feel like we're losing autonomy, like someone else is running our lives. To take back the autonomy, one thing that I do is to create something constant, and that for me is my morning routine. It gives me that sense of autonomy and it grounds me every morning. What I do for my morning routine is this. I wake up and I try my best to not look at my phone because I know that when I start doing this, I won't stop and I'll just lie in bed and start scrolling on Instagram. So I'm still working on it. I take a few deep breaths and then I go and wash my face. I make coffee. I take my coffee outside with a view of nature and I journal. I journal my feelings, my thoughts, and I remind myself of my dreams and my vision. And then I read. I read for 30 minutes. At this point in time, I still haven't looked at my phone, preferably. And when I do this, it helps me have something to look forward to when I wake up because I do enjoy reading. Having something to be excited about in the morning helps as well. It could be making breakfast, maybe trying a different tea flavor every day. But having one thing that excites you in the morning makes waking up fun, makes waking up something to look forward to. When I was younger, I had a routine created for me. I wake up, breakfast, go to school with a set timetable, after school activities, go home, do homework, and repeat. When we become adults, we need to start parenting ourselves. We need to start making that routine for ourselves. If we don't do it ourselves, nobody's gonna do it for us. The next thing I do is to intentionally plan to do things that I know will make me feel better. I know connection makes me feel better. Having a catch up with close friends, taking a walk with my sister. You gotta ask yourself, what do you need most now that will give you that feeling of aliveness again? I don't know if aliveness is a word. That feeling of like, oh, it's so good to feel alive. For you, it could be taking a walk, soaking in nature. If it is, plan for it. Perhaps it's a change in environment. Maybe it's working from a cafe. Maybe it's drinks and game nights with your friends because you just want to have fun. Of course, starting to do something you haven't done in a long while can produce inertia. These are activities that you enjoy doing, but because you've just been feeling so meh, you might find it very hard to actually like get your bum out of your chair and start doing something. It might feel really hard to go for the lunch meeting that you have planned or to even plan that lunch meeting. Because you haven't done it in a long while, having inertia is normal. What takes the most energy is to literally just start. At this point, we can benefit from using the psychological concept called behavioural action. Behavioural action is based on the idea that action can create motivation, especially when you're in a rut. This is the initial oomph of activation energy, even for simple things like getting out of bed. So when I don't feel like getting out of bed, which happens sometimes, I take a huge deep breath, and in my head, I count 3, 2, 1, wake up. And when I say wake up in my head, I push myself upright. I don't allow my brain to question this instruction. I just do it. It's like chasing for a bus. You either chase with your full commitment or you don't. You don't half-ass it. You want to leverage on this activation energy instead of waiting for you to feel like it. Because you'll never feel like it, especially when you're languishing. Even the smallest things feel hard. When you feel unmotivated or just meh, give yourself permission to feel those feelings first and then let them go. Don't start mellowing in the emotions or shame yourself for feeling that way. It can turn into a never-ending conversation in your head. For example, I've had this conversation with myself before in my head. Hey, you should get up. Maybe you can sleep in for a few more minutes. And it becomes this whole back and forth conversation in my head. It goes on and on in circles. And I just lie there on my bed for 30 minutes, just not actually getting quality sleep, but not getting up. So what you want to do is to instead first acknowledge our emotions and then shift our focus from feeling the emotions to taking that first small step. For things that I know will make me feel better, like meeting my friend or going for a walk with my sister, experiencing connection, I schedule those things into my calendar and I book those dates with my friends. And the day before or even the hour before, when I don't feel like going out, I remember to do these 2 things. Number 1, I remind myself of the amazing warm fuzzy feeling I'll get once I'm having that conversation and after the conversation. I remember all the previous times I didn't feel like going out of the house, but once I do, I feel better and never regretted it. And then number 2 is I leverage on the behavioural action. I take a deep breath, count 3, 2, 1. And just do it. Start doing my makeup. Start going out of the house. Action can create motivation, especially when we're in a rut. It is important to feel your feelings, but don't get muddled in it. Swim in these feelings and these emotions. Just acknowledge it, let it go, and then shift your focus to action. The rest will come more easily and much faster. Number 4 is to have accountability partners. Accountability buddies are super helpful for me. It's funny because we're less likely to want to bail or disappoint on our friends as opposed to bailing and disappointing ourselves. I schedule a weekly catch-up session with a few of my close friends who are also business owners, and it's actually scheduled in my calendar. I get all that human connection juice I need. We also share updates with each other and what our life and business goals are for the week. Research studies show that publicly committing your goals to someone gives you a 65% chance of completing them. Having a specific accountability partner increases that success rate to 95%. That's almost 100%. Why accountability partners work is because you respect your accountability partner and you won't want to lie to them. It feels easier to lie to yourself and brush things away when you don't stick to your habits. But it's not so easy to lie to your accountability partner and breach their trust. Maybe it's also like an Asian thing to not want to lose face. Here's how to choose the right accountability partner. Number 1 is they genuinely want you to succeed. They aren't jealous of you and hence secretly wish for your downfall. observe how they react to your achievements and your wins. Are they genuinely happy for you? If they are, then that is a good sign. Number 2 is they share a similar goal, vision, or direction as you. They may not have the exact same vision for their business, but they are moving towards a similar direction in their business. There is a way you can find synergy to be accountability buddies with them. You might have to search outside your current friend group. You might have to go on Facebook groups to find common interest group. And number 3, they are honest without judgment. You need to find accountability buddies that will keep you accountable and will be honest with you. They're willing to challenge you. They're not just agreeing with everything you say. They need to be able to keep you accountable with a no judgment zone. At the end of the day, it's important to know that languishing is something that others go through as well. Even the people that you admire so much, those who seem to have it all, they have moments where they feel like doing nothing at all. They have moments where they feel low, where they feel depressed. In 2021, Michelle Obama revealed in her podcast that she was suffering from low-grade depression during the height of the pandemic.
Felt that. Well, and that's why I thought it was important to say it out loud, because to not feel depressed with all that was going on,
it would be what's wrong with you.
It's sort of like, so you feel okay in all of this, and sometimes we just need to speak the truth. There are dips, ebbs and flows to life. There are times when you feel great and times when you feel really low. But it's important for us to own that happens to us.
She feels like she needed to share and acknowledge that she was going through this to show people that it is normal to have low moments. Sometimes we've been pedaling so hard for so long that we feel dejected, unmotivated, and tired. In these moments, I just feel like doing nothing. I feel like staring into space. You want to first give yourself a rest. Ask your body, what does it really need? When you constantly build a relationship with your voice, you'll know how to listen to your body. You'll know when you're burnt out or when you're procrastinating, taking action, and creating momentum. You will know which one it is. Secondly, do what I shared in this video. Create a routine. Intentionally plan to do something that you know will make you feel better. Leverage on behavioral action. Behavioral action is based on the idea that action can create motivation, especially when you're in a rut. So basically count 3 to 1, oomph, and take action. Do what you need to get going. Have trusted accountability buddies. When you know deep in your heart that you're doing your best, you'll feel good about yourself. You'll be able to ride on that nice feeling of pride for a while to keep you going. And look around, lean in for support. When you feel like doing nothing, people around you who love you and believe in you will come and support you. They will give you the energy and self-belief that will ignite you to take action and keep on going. At the end of the day, it is so important to build a relationship with your voice and respect your voice. Your voice needs to be heard. You have a message inside you that needs to be heard. And when you feel like doing nothing, you don't make that impact on the world that you're meant to make. The world deserves to hear your voice. The world needs to hear your voice. And I know it's so frustrating to feel unproductive. I know it's so frustrating to feel shitty because you're doing nothing. And you're doing nothing not because you have nothing to give, but it's because you're just having that feeling of languishing. So do these 4 things and allow yourself to care for yourself in a way that is productive, to care for yourself in a way that's effective, and to ultimately take action. You deserve to make yourself proud, and the world deserves to hear your voice.